Welcome to our I Am Workshop Conversation Series, a transformative journey designed to inspire self-discovery and ignite your creative spirit. With your hosts, Ana Maria Davalos, Maria Lanes, and Maclovia Martel. Okay, welcome to I Am Conversations. Our guest today is Cristina Latorre, director of the nonprofit CAEMBA in Ecuador. From travel agent to Woman of the Year. I just wanted to for you to tell us about your life before CAEMBA and how your life transformed into CAEMBA.
Well, it's a long story, and I think that I think life is all about this like synchronicity. And from the moment you're born, it's like you start making the puzzle. How do you say?
Connecting
Putting the
dots.
pieces
Connecting
together.
the pieces. And then after, just now is when I think like the puzzle is kind of getting into the form it must be. And well, I was actually born in Washington, D.C. It's very strange because my English is real good in accent, but the words are completely out of my brain right now. I was born in Washington, lived there till I was 10 years old. My mother is Ecuadorian and my father is Colombian. They were both diplomats, but we actually my sister and I were born in Washington, D.C. because my grandfather was a diplomat and my mom would always go to wherever he had to serve. So, yeah, I think we have this diversity in our blood by being Colombian, Ecuadorian, and my first language was English, and the first culture that I lived in was the United States. So sometimes that kind of makes me unstable, but now I understand. So I feel grateful. And
This is
so,
very
unstable.
familiar to another interview we just
From
had.
unstable to
From
Woman of the Year. I like
right. I
it.
mean, that's what life is, and that's what we are. And women even more. Our brain is like this wide, and we think many things at the same time, and we can do many tasks at the same time.
True.
So I really honor to be a woman, and I honor many, many women. And so yes, as I said, when I was 18 years old, I started working. I didn't want to study. I hated studying.
I remember.
Uh, it was not in my future at all to go to college and all that stuff. But I started in the travel business, and that's where I did my profession. I worked 26 years in the travel business. And I remember that in many situations, I would do numerology, or they would read my hand, or many of these holistic things, and they would say, "Oh yes, your path in life is service." I'm like, obviously, I am sitting behind a counter for 8 or 9 to 10 hours a day, serving my clients in the travel business. And then we went to live at the beach for 3 years in the coast. And obviously, I was administrating the hotel, serving until we had the earthquake in 2016. And that was when I understood what service was. So we started helping the families that had lost everything, building bamboo shelters. And after 7 months that the emergency had passed, we learned about the immense poverty that we had in our country and that exists in the world. So, and we also learned that there were many, many single mothers, abandoned mothers. And we started building bamboo homes for extreme poor families, but the property of the home is the woman, is the woman. And so yes, I mean there's a long story behind this before the earthquake and before now serving our country with not only bamboo homes, but it's become very holistic, our project. So
So
I don't
the
know
earthquake
how
Yeah. So the earthquake is what sort of changed you when you saw this poverty, or were
Well,
you thinking of it before?
I was married once. Now I have my second marriage, but the first I was married at 22, I think even 21, I forget,
Less than that.
and very young,
Very
and
young.
I
Yeah.
just divorced like a year, 8 months after I was married. And that was like, well, the first shock in my life was coming to Ecuador
Right.
because it was a cultural shock. I was my language was English. They put me in Colegio Americano, which is one of the finest and best schools, and that was like my first shock is to be
That's what I
in
met her.
Exactly.
where kids start in pre-kinder and they graduate all together. They become a family. And here is Cristina arriving at Colegio Americano, everybody looking at me like saying, "Who is this girl?"
Who's this gringa?
And and then I don't know. It was very difficult. I was very, very shy. And that was like my first shock, let's say that way. Then my divorce, I could say, was like my second shock, but a happy shock. I just was so happy to be single again. And that's when I kind of started like healing arts. I started meditating Zen. And then I was always into books of healing myself, of using energy with the hands. I did the Silva mind control. I don't know if you've heard of
Yeah. Hmm.
Silva,
The
and
method, the
I
Silva
think Joe
method.
Dispenza uses now a lot.
Hmm.
And at 20, and that was when I was married, actually. My
Yeah, I
husband
remember.
would say, "You're a witch." And I'm like, "Okay, fine with me. I'm a good witch, so that's good."
Your
And then
husband
I
said
would
that?
just start levitating and I would connect with my friends in my dreams.
Wow.
And it was something I
So,
understand so well the power of the mind and
yeah.
all the incredible things that you can do with it,
Mhm.
which I apply now in my organization because I just project and things just manifest and
She
materialize.
manifests.
Yeah.
I have one
It's a
question,
lot like
Christina.
Annie.
Yeah, kind of different because we took certain healing courses together. I took quantum the first time with Cristina, with Jorge Leon, remember? But I
Uh-huh.
remember something that this it was in 2016, and you called me or I called you, I don't remember, but I was already getting my first divorce also. And it was the earthquake. And I remember that Cristina told me, we have to do something. I have a farm with bamboo, and we're going to start building houses. And it's like, Chris, how are you going to build houses for Ecuador? For all, I mean, it just, I'm going to do it. And I remember I think I was one of the first ones that you told me. I called Manuel and
I
I'm going to do
remember
it.
walking in my garden and we were talking on the phone for hours.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, because I was telling her about that the divorce I was getting and then what am I going to do? I mean, she knew all my life. And well, that is one of the questions how you manifested that. But before that, Christina, that's important because all the people that we're interviewing in some way or another they have hit rock bottom, so that's the part that we always talk about purpose, and purpose is where your wound is. Where do you think your wound is? When do you ever in your life have you hit rock bottom that you say, well, I'm going to go up and I'm going to do it by myself?
It was very magical, actually. I hit bottom. I've hit bottom many times, but the worst one was around my 40, no, 37, 38. I had a very good friend of mine, and she was my party girl. So we would do ladies' night, and we would just go crazy. I mean, we would just party and drink and tons of other stuff. And we would just, party till 4 a.m. And I already had my kids, but my current husband was very nice to let me be free because I have a school.
Until 4 in the
You're
morning.
like,
But it was real bad because after like 3 years, my best friend died in an accident.
Oh
And she
no.
actually she had been drinking and the guy that was driving the car, he fell asleep.
Mm.
And she hit her head on the windshield, and she entered a automatic like coma, and she died. And I she had 10 days in coma at the hospital. I was following the doctors like day and night, desperate. And she finally, we had to make the decision of unplugging her, and it was bad. And so yes, I had a very bad depression, never had any pills, but yes, drinking a lot and just feeling depressed. And at some point I said, Chris, you have to do something. And the moment I kind of said that, like from my heart, because I knew I was going down and I had no tools to support me, uh, my husband's niece said to me, Chris, uh, on the weekend, there's going to be this workshop called Woman of Light, and you're going to love it. I'm like, and it's a yoga retreat. I'm like, oh, yoga. I was in the negative completely. Yoga, Woman of Light, really? I mean, I don't want to do that. Chris, it's like a drug. Oh, it's a drug. And I said,
You said
okay,
drug.
I'm going.
You said drug.
It was like, anything. So I remember going Saturday, Sunday with this Kundalini yoga teacher,
Uh-huh.
Namnidam. She's my teacher of heart. First breath of fire. Click. There was something in my brain that changed. It was like a chemical. It was like a click. It was something that completely changed my life. And I came out of the depression, and I started, like, I'm watching Grey's Anatomy. Sorry that I'm going from one thing to the other. But Amelia in Grey's Anatomy, when she has a very hard surgery, and she really needs to feel empowered, she does this.
Yeah, the
Like
Wonder
Wonder
Woman
Woman.
pose.
And I have been starting to do that when I feel overwhelmed over all the responsibilities that I have. I start doing this. And this is something I actually share with the women, with the very poor women that I work with in the poorest neighborhoods you can imagine. Every time I see the woman walking like this,
Mhm.
which means you're carrying a lot of luggage and worries, I pinch them in the back.
Mm.
And I tell them to put their shoulders up to the ears and back. And that
As
you
we all
feel
sit up
beautiful
straight.
that way. And you have to walk that way. When
Yeah,
I see
we're
them
we're
walking
we're,
like
we're
this,
starting
I
like
just
this.
like, I hit them in the back. I'm like, get straight.
Like you're
And
empowering them.
oh
Yeah,
yes,
you're
Yeah.
empowering them.
totally. And every time they see me,
Assertiveness.
they automatically do this. It's like before Cristina says anything, I'm gonna be straight. And so that's when whoa, it was such a beautiful moment of my life. I actually had 6 months, and it was like a miracle because I came back from the workshop, and I'm like, tomorrow, Monday, I have to start Kundalini yoga classes. I have to, otherwise I'll go back down. So I called my niece, and I'm like, Gabi, where can I go to classes? And she's like, Chris, a block away from your house.
Wow.
Like, you got to be kidding me.
What year was this,
La
Chris?
Fernanda Bueno. This was like 2000, oh God, 2008, maybe.
Mm.
And so I went walking to classes, and I went for 6 months, and then I did the teacher training. So I'm a Kundalini yoga
Wow.
teacher,
Also,
I didn't know that.
which I'm not practicing now a long time. But yes, I mean, I think that we need to have many tools to be able to kind of, I don't want to say survive, nor I want to feel negative, because I'm not a negative person, but there's so many things going on in life, and
Yeah.
you have so many options, healing options, uh, that I think that we should all try to look into these healing arts and practice whatever it is, if it's yoga, if it's Reiki, if it's quantum, if it's Rakiram, which I also did the training.
You're a healer. Yeah, she's a Rakiram healer. Also.
Yeah, you're a
I'm
true
a
Yeah,
healer.
Rakiram.
you're really there.
And I also had a intense course on Ayurveda, the Ayurveda. So I do the Abhyanga massage and the Shirodhara. But now my healing comes when I help heal other women in what
Wow.
we do in CAEMBA.
That is
So
so inspiring, Cristina.
thank you.
And I think of what you're talking about, and I go back to what your childhood was about, right? Because I always like to think back when we are little and how that those moments in life, life-changing events when we're little, how we bring it up into our future selves. And the fact that you're multicultural, you're American, Colombian, Ecuadorian, right? That has led you to have a broader vision of the world,
I would say I agree.
right? And how did you, because we are different. I mean, I have a similar background. I grew up here, and that gave me a different vision of the world. And that actually has led me to my life of purpose. But it's those things that when you're little, did anything when you were little make you think about your future?
I was a happy girl. I was a happy little girl. I mean, I think the four seasons in the United States are so amazing because you kind of learn to switch from one to the other, and you're
Right.
always expecting and you're always happy. Spring is coming. Oh, winter, the snowman, you know? And that I missed a lot when I came to Ecuador. And I can only be grateful to my parents
Yeah.
for bringing us up in the United States, for being Colombian, Ecuadorian, for making us, as you said, live a broader and more diverse understanding of the world. And I think that is one of the tools I also carry with me is that gratitude to how I have been brought and yeah, just being able to switch and understand and not judge and kind of, I don't know, understand the world in a different way.
Understand it and create an initiative that is so big, right? And that I'm sure most people were thinking that you're crazy.
Oh, I
When
was
she
crazy,
started,
but a
yeah.
good crazy. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you started, I mean, this was the question that I was telling Loli and Maki about this. You were the one of the first ones in 2016 that you saw crisis as an opportunity, kind of like what's happening now in the world, and you definitely took advantage of that.
I,
Can you tell us a little bit how, with the earthquake, you started to build the houses? If you can do a small summary, because I know you can
oh, I
speak
could
to
go
us
for
for an
hours.
hour, and how you ended up being nominated the Woman of the Year in Germany. I mean, it was like from starting from scratch, and then you went out here.
I didn't see it as an opportunity. It just came. It
Mm-hmm.
just happened, It's like when there's something real nice is when you think too much, you become dualidad. You become it's like the two brains are working, the
The
negative, the
bipolar.
positive, the opposites, the la dualidad, no? It's like
Duality. Yeah.
the only thing you have to actually do is you feel something, you do it. You don't think it over. You do it. It's like that minute. It's like a ray that makes
Five
you do
second
things.
rule.
And I think that I am a very empathetic and sensitive person.
Hmm.
So when the earthquake happened and I knew that a whole town had gone to the floor, I just felt it in my bones, in my heart, in myself. It was like it was happening to me. And in that moment, the only thing we had like 2 days. What do we do? What do we do? We watch the news. And then it's like this whole channel opens up, and it's
It
like
was
you
a call
receive
for
the message.
action.
It's like you receive the message, and you just believe in what you received, and you just start acting. And so we just said, we have the bamboo at the farm.
Mhm.
Let's go to the farm. And as I was talking about the puzzle, many years we had met a group of young kids, let's say adolescent, teenager kids. They were the sons of the person that looked over a piece of land we had at the coast. And we knew that while they were growing, they had many workshops involving bamboo. So the first thing we did, earthquake, we have bamboo, we got the guys. We called them and they came to volunteer to build these shelters. And then how do you say this? And then I don't know, everything synchronized. When we uploaded what we had done on Facebook, sorry about the dog.
It's fine. We all have a dog.
Durga,
Oh.
Mother Universe
Mm.
in the Indian
Mm.
religion. So what happened there is that we uploaded what we had done just to tell people, listen, do shelters, build shelters,
Mhm.
thinking that everyone would build a shelter. And then suddenly it was shared at 1,200 times.
Wow.
So that means that
Wow.
1,200 people shared it, and others shared and shared and shared.
Wow.
And suddenly we had many people donating,
Mhm.
many leaders of the small towns calling me on WhatsApp, telling me and asking me for help. And then I was able to like coordinate the whole logistics of where the shelter should go, uh, the donors. And then suddenly I told Manuel, my husband, I'm like, you have to resign to your job. We have $60,000 in our account. And the bank is calling, like, why are you receiving so much money? I'm like, not into drugs. Don't worry about it. It's like we're not trafficking.
Don't be
We're
jealous.
consuming.
Mhm.
So it was like,
Yeah.
you have to resign. We have to keep on building shelters, and then it's just magic, and right now I go back and I'm like, how did we get where we are right now? I just don't understand how we've been very patient, very meticulous in every step. Tolerance has been very important. I have a story I'll tell you someday about the drum that I built the day of the earthquake. The drum, I'll say it real quick. The drum
Yes.
is the beating of the heart.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so when you build your drum, you're actually pulling. You have to be patient. You learn many things. You learn to be tolerant. You learn to be patient. You learn to be strong by pulling the cords. And when you finish your drum, there is a piece of leather that that is
That
sobrando,
is left.
Left.
left. They cut and they put it on your wrist, and they say that is the umbilical cord of your drum, which means your new heart, and this is a rebirth. Your life will never be the same again.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
And
beautiful.
that I ended the workshop 6:30 p.m. The earthquake was at 7. My life completely changed.
That comes from our
From
indigenous
the United
people
States,
in
actually. From
in here.
from
I thought it
from
was from our
the
indigenous
Native
people in
American
Americans.
Ecuador.
Indians. My drum is made of buffalo skin, and actually the wood is from a tree that the indigenous use as well. It was a workshop that came from Colombia, and this guy had lived with the American Indians. So it was incredible.
So
And yeah,
so was
because
that
my life
night.
was never this.
Like you made the drum, you put it around your that piece around your wrist, and then there was this earthquake. Huge earthquake.
Exactly. I came
Wow.
home to put my drum on top of books so it would dry the next day and I could play it. And the minute I was in the bathroom, because we have like a beautiful sun that comes through the windows on the roof, it was already shaking. And my husband is like, Christina, and I'm like, placing my drum, didn't feel anything. Second, Cristina, I'm like, the third yell of Manuel, the
The
third,
third one.
I took me out of this other dimension, and I felt the earthquake, and it threw me from one side to the other. I'm
So
like,
maybe you were the one that started with the drum, the earthquake. I think it's all your fault. Now we know
and
who's
and and,
responsible.
and the drum became my tool because we it was so stressful. We had so much work, so many people asking for the shelters. Every time I would feel bad, I would go to the garden and do, play my drum. Would calm me down. Well, my
So you
life is
use it
bad.
now.
I use it a lot. I
Mhm.
use it. I still use it. Sometimes I put music and I feel the drum in the music and I start playing my drum with any music I listen to.
That's a fantastic.
Christina, and you had people come
connection.
over from here, from California, also to Ecuador to help you with TV programs when you were already having the outcomes of everything you were doing in Ecuador. And then you had this call from Germany for candidate of Woman of the Year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well,
All these international people got involved in what you were doing?
the Women's International Women's Frankfurt, that was a prize called Norgal.
Mhm.
And someone talked about me and recommended me as one for this prize. And I had like 5 calls and I had to send tons of information and I won.
It was
I don't
worth
know.
it. Yeah.
I don't know, remember how many women were actually I was
I'm sure there were a lot.
we were a Brazilian, Colombian, and me were the finalists, and I won. So
Oh, wow.
I won a
Congratulations.
prize.
That's an amazing.
We also won City Foundation from the Citibank. We're the first Ecuadorian NGO to receive an award of $500,000. First time in Ecuador, and from 1,000. Sorry, you see
Say it
my
in Spanish. We're the
the,
translators.
de 1,000 personas que
From a,
concursaron
from 1,000 people that they
the
were in the
Participated.
contest,
participating.
we won.
Wow.
We won from 1,000. 51, and we were one of the first that on the list. And so many blessings have come. And this is what I always say is that when you really connect with your heart, with your soul, with your wanting, everything with love, nothing comes out wrong. So
Yeah.
we really have to do, I think this would be like a whole message that definitely we have to take some time to feel our heart, physically feel the heart and take deep breaths and just do everything from love. And I believe among anything that that's when the magic happens.
Mhm.
So, and it doesn't matter how depressed we are, there's always a little space where we can go to and connect with the heart. So you can just forget about that mind that's always playing.
Game.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And I remember when Christina was in Washington, D.C., and we were talking, we were in the house on the lake. Loli lives nearby. She has a ranch there.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
really near where you met. And we were talking, and I was telling Christina, but you have to make money out of this, remember? And it's like, no, because you were helping and helping and helping. And we were talking, is you have to do, but you have to get a salary, remember? And now
Yeah.
you made all this whole big
We've
enterprise.
built
Yeah.
680 homes.
Oof.
We have built a whole sports center. Oh, I have to show
Manuel
you.
and her. I mean, can you
Is
imagine?
that the video you shared with me? That
Oh, I don't know. No, because right now I'll share some more information, but I think I did. I'm not sure, Maclovia, what I
you
sent.
built a center in this show, or they built it where they would the women you were empowering
The
the women.
fixers, yeah, but that was
Yeah.
the first center that we built. We
Okay.
built
The
a
fixers. Yeah.
whole sports center in another town, and we
Wow.
built a small center for education and arts, apoyar, to support education and sports as a tool for the the kids to stay away from
From
drugs
drugs
and
and drug
the
lords and
gangs
everything.
and all
The
that
gangs.
stuff that's happening here. So, and we built a beautiful roof of tenso membrana. I wonder what that is in English. You see, that one's difficult. Tenso membrana, English.
What is it?
It's a white, huge, big, like stadium kind of roof.
Oh, okay.
And over the basketball court,
Mhm.
where we can do tons of events.
Yeah.
Tense membrane made out of tense membrane. I'll show you a
Okay.
picture. It's the
Is that
most
like the
beautiful thing.
standard what they use in all the big event, the sports arenas? It's probably, I don't go to a lot of sports.
It's probably that, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing what we're doing because we started with homes, but then I saw that women were still poor, even if they have a house. Now they're secure, now they're healthier, but they're still poor. So we started with training,
Give them some kind of skills.
different empowerments,
Cooking, sewing,
exactly. How do you call those? Traits? No.
skills.
Training
Skills.
right? Training skills for that. Then now we're giving biofilters of sand biofilters for healthy, clean water.
Mhm.
We're also working in sports, in art, helping the kids in their homeworks with education. And what else are we doing? We're doing so many things, but we work like one town at a time.
That's
So
huge.
the whole community can really be prosperous and transform. Otherwise, if you just work with one family, it's that one family. But so we want to build healthy environments, healthy communities. So that's what we're up to now.
But you can see actually the change in the community from where it started and now.
Oh, it's immense.
From
It's
2016, she started to 2025. Can you imagine? And
9
9
years.
years now.
and it's amazing because I know Cristina since we were what, 14, 15.
When I went into the national part of
You taught me how to smoke cigarettes. We had a thing there that you moved, and we
There was
went
a
into this
construction
bath,
going on, I think.
I
So
don't
we would move
remember,
the
but we
wall
moved
and go
that.
behind.
And we would get dizzy, and you said, "Yeah, it's part of it. I mean, just your body gets
But
used to it." And we get-
were you
and
were you
we-
talking about anything like this when you guys were doing that? Were you
No.
like,
Nah, we were
thinking-
talking about
No,
boys.
no,
boys.
That
okay,
was
you're talking about
Boys, and
a
we
different
and,
conversation.
and I was small,
You see,
so we
from
needed to
darkness
smoke.
to
So
light.
from
We gotta
smoking
go
to
into the
light.
dark to come out to the light. Otherwise,
Yeah, I think that was the darkest moment going through Colegio Americano, landing there. That was a really difficult task. I mean, I went through it and I ran away. So I don't know how you.
no,
Yeah, you
managed.
ran away.
that's another conversation we have to have, Loli. And that's why I think I started listening to Gaber Mate because of the traumas. Yeah, have you listened to Gaber Mate?
No.
It's amazing.
Me too.
I've listened to one
Oh,
chapter of him.
Gabor Mate is a psychiatrist, and I don't know, he's many
He's a
things.
healer also.
And he's a healer, and now he's with psilocybin, with trying other methods of and he says that all the anxiety and addictions come from trauma.
Uh-huh.
So you have to understand that and try to heal from understanding where your trauma began.
Yeah.
And he works with many people in, I think he's in Vancouver, Canada. He works in one of these towns where you have many homeless and drug addicts, and it's a whole town. I forget which one it is. But one of the hardest things for the homeless and these like junkies, I don't know if you say it that way, is that they feel that they are invisible
Yeah.
because nobody looks at them.
Mm.
And I went to New
Mhm.
York when my daughter was graduating, and I said, this trip
My
I'm
dogs.
going to watch, I'm going to look at every homeless in the eye, and I'm going to smile to them. And I did it. You have no idea what I saw in those eyes. It was compassion. It was love. It was, and because everyone tries to run away from them.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
scared.
They're afraid.
And
They're
when
afraid.
I
Yeah.
The
made
worst
eye
thing is to
contact with
be
each one
invisible.
of the homeless, oh, my heart just melted because, and I know that I gave them this beautiful gift of looking and telling him, "You're not invisible. I am looking at you." We have to
Yeah.
start being more compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So yeah, we gotta work on the traumas, Loli.
No.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I was saying. I mean, you empathize with these guys because they were invisible, these homeless people. And going back to the fact that you came from the States to Ecuador to such a difficult
I felt
school, which that
invisible
is,
in Colegio
you
Americano.
become invisible. So you
Uh-huh.
understood.
I felt invisible.
She
It
was
was
not that
terrible.
invisible. She had so many boyfriends that I
But
kept
that
on
was
thinking
bad
of this
because then the
invisible
girls hated
thing.
No,
me. They
but
hated me, the girls. It's like this new girl
Yeah.
comes in
The
and all
girls
the boys
hated you,
are,
but the boys loved you, Cristina. You were not
no,
that
but
invisible.
no, but you
you
know,
see,
it's a difficult thing to go through that, to
Yeah.
oh, it's
exchange.
terrible.
Yeah. So
That was
those,
very traumatic. But now I embrace it and I don't care anymore. That's a good thing of aging.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful thing of aging.
Mhm.
It's just incredible how wise we can become.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we still have a long way to go, but there are things that now we don't care.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
But at that age, I would say, Mom, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. And my mom would
Well,
say, "You have to go to school." I'm like, no, I don't want to go.
but you know, it's what Ana Maria said. We were not invisible, but they treated us like we were invisible.
I think the girls
That's
they
the
treated Christina like that because I think they were a little bit jealous but I remember her dating a lot of guys there and they liked you
I
a
didn't
lot.
date anyone.
Well, not dating, but they would
They
ask you
would,
out.
como se dice, declarar. They would
They
declare
would,
their,
yeah, they would declare their love.
and I would say,
I
no,
don't know in
no,
English,
no.
yeah, but you would say no,
No.
yeah, no,
I would
because we
say no
wouldn't
all
date
the
at
time.
14, forget it. But you had all these guys after you.
Yeah, and
I
the
remember
girls
that.
were probably
That
like,
was terrible.
oh my
that's
God.
not gonna happen.
I was very shy. It was terrible for me. It was
Mhm.
terrible. And I was
I think
hiding all the time,
You were what?
hiding all the
Really?
time, hiding because I knew that someone liked me and I didn't want that person to ask me, how do you say that? I don't know how that works in
In the
English, but they
States.
wanted to be with
ask
me and
you
I would just
out. I mean, they
Ask
were
hide.
you out.
asking
They
you
You
would
didn't
out.
want
say
to be
they would
the
declare
Declare
yourself to their
their
love.
love to me.
mm,
But well, that's gone.
no.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
grateful for that
But that
too.
made you strong. I mean, that
Yeah, that
experience
made me
made you
strong.
strong.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Do you have a message for our audience? What would you say from all your path in life, from when you came to Ecuador, now what you're doing, you're sick? I mean, I know you're working a lot with women. Do you want to give a message to women or
to
Eh,
humanity?
women.
Oh, so many messages, Ana Maria. Actually, to don't give up, to know that you have so much strength inside, to give yourself some time to be alone, to connect with your heart, to know that everything is perfect the way it is, the moment it comes. Uh, Faith, compassion, but everything has to be love. I mean, above all things, it's connect to love yourself, embrace yourself, and always feel gratitude for everything that happens in your life and what happened in your past. That will make you strong and
Everything happens for a reason.
and
Yeah.
always soñar in Spanish. Soñar no
Dream.
cuesta nada. To
Soñar
dream
no cuesta nada.
does not cost anything. So if we close our eyes and we want a dream to come true and you feel it from your heart and you visualize it, most likely it'll come to your life. So we have to believe that that is completely true.
That's how
Manifest.
Lolly
So
got. See that beautiful farm behind in the
yes,
window?
I'm looking at it the whole
That's
interview.
what Lolly did through her art.
There
She
you
manifested
go.
And
it.
she
You see?
manifested that, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's it.
Well, following up on what Christina said, love is the most important thing, I believe, like you. But to follow your dreams no matter what people, the naysayers. Doesn't matter how many people tell you you're crazy, you have to continue.
Exactly. Correct. Absolutely. And that's why it has no cost.
Yeah.
And then so we can keep on.
We are free. Yeah.
We are free. Yes.
So I like to do a little angel card.
For Cristina.
Oh, I
just-
love
She,
that.
she
I
go,
do
she's
that
gonna
too.
choose it, or you're gonna choose it?
I
for
have
her?
like 6 decks of these cards. I love them.
For the collective, what we've been talking about, and you talk a lot about the heart and, you know, just being true to yourself and authentic. So I just wanted to, I'm kind of just mixing them up,
Okay.
and I'm going to pull this card. And that card is improving health.
There you go.
Improving
And-
health.
And who is it? Is it an archangel or something? Or no?
These cards are oracle card. They're just angel answers.
Oh,
They're all the same. Radley Valentine made these.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull another one. Helpful people.
helpful people.
That is
There you go.
that is you.
That is
That is
Wow,
that is
wow,
you, Cristina.
wow.
Helpful people. And I'm gonna just pull one more. Forgiveness.
forgiveness. What we were saying, we were talking about gratefulness, no?
Yes. I think forgiveness.
Forgiveness is definitely important.
Yeah.
I think you have to forgive to release those traumas. You know, you have to, you can't hold on. But thank you so much. You are just so amazing. I mean, you're not just building bamboo homes, you are empowering people, women.
You're changing lives.
You're changing
communities.
the world. And you're
Come
building
and build with me.
communities.
Come.
Yes. Yes.
Please.
I
To
want
the
I just-
jungle.
Just
You,
this
you've
month
got
and next
go-
month.
Well, we can do both, Ana Maria. Let's come build. You will love.
Yeah.
We should all go.
And then we go jungle. Let's do a
Yes.
whole tour.
That would be so
The
beautiful.
8-hour tour.
How do they get a hold of you? What is if people want to donate or contact you?
We actually, Maclovia, we have the foundation in the United States, and it has a status of 501c3 tax deductible,
Okay.
which I think many people prefer to donate to a cause,
Mhm.
a social cause, and a beautiful cause like CAEMBA, and they could look for the Raiz Foundation.
Okay.
The Raiz, RAIZ Foundation.
Well, here's
Yeah.
the Raiz
There you go.
Foundation.
That's it. So it's CLATORRE at Fundación Raiz. EC as in Ecuador.org.
Okay.
Like orgy. Sorry.
Yes, Ana
Of
Maria.
course,
Like,
Annie says that.
oh.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna.
You're not recording, are you?